Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Chel. It is Monday, October 6th. We are one day away from the start of the NHL regular season. And for anyone that has been tuning into my live stream, I've been live for 25 days now. Thank you for everyone that has shown support. A lot of people have come over from YouTube that have never watched Twitch before and come and hang out. So if you want to see someone go 25 plus days on stream, live their life, you can do so. So anyways, that being said, let's get into today's episode. The topics we're going to touch up on real quick. The Faceoff event, so the new event that's coming kind of in celebration of the launch of the NHL season, or the Faceoff series on Amazon. Looks like we're getting a new event on Tuesday, which is tomorrow at the start of the NHL season, which is cool. I want to talk about, reminder, you've got 1 day left to make a fantasy item, so those sets don't last until Friday. You've got to make them before tomorrow night. So if you're sitting on collectibles, you got to get the remaining done to make a card, or those collectibles are just going to become useless. Line combos, man, they are getting frustrating. And then matchmaking. So let's start first with the face-off event. Talked about this a little bit. It looks like the master set players were leaked or shown off. Not leaked. It's a promo. So there's a difference between a leak and a promo. And we got Matthew Tkachuk again for like the 15th time already. Do want to say, people that are stunned that we get back-to-back master sets, or players that get multiple master set players in a year, they don't care about that anymore. The old content team had it was almost a detriment, but in the end of the year, it was something that we could come to expect. And I think that I don't know if it was better or not, but they would not include players, because even though it made sense for the event, the specific event, because they would have to follow I knew the formula. They had to follow couldn't have been already selected for a master set player item. So if they had one earlier in the year, they weren't getting another one. Had to fit. Did the team get one recently? The team that they play for had to fit the every position gets a card, which I think is one thing that is necessary. So that was the old format. Now does it make sense for the event? Yes or no? Okay, doesn't matter if they have or if they've already gotten a master player, any of that stuff, it just doesn't matter. So Matthew Tkachuk, cover athlete, the Fresh Ice event was specifically for the pre-order. That made sense to include him. He's a cover athlete, right? The next event, the Check My Game event, again, the first worldwide event for the NHL video game, made sense, right? A little frustrating, but they also included a way to take your Matthew Tkachuk card from Fresh Ice and upgrade it. The NHL, the face-off event, again, Brady and Matthew are highlighted, or prominent roles in the series. It makes sense. Is it a little over the top? Yes, because they probably still won't give Matthew Tkachuk good enough skating or abilities or whatever to actually make him useful. But as long as there's a way, again, it makes sense. I think back to the next gen event last year. The Sharks got 3 MSPs, and everyone lost their minds because the old content team set a precedent that you couldn't have master set player items that were duplicated. It made as a Shark, I know I'm biased, but it made sense, right? There was the Sharks had 3 of the best rookies in the game, in Askarov, as well as Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini, and those were 2 players that were they were college players, so they weren't in the game, so they had to the next gen event, they have to do specific things where they take advantage of Europeans and other players that don't have headshots. So Demidov is a lock. They are going to, Demidov is a next gen MSP. There's no way around it. He will 100% be a next gen MSP. So that was just an example. But so there's times where it's a little over the top and annoying, but that is why. And again, there's pros and cons to it. That being said, it is an 86 overall, right? That means that we're seeing a jump in overall. So going off of what EA has done the last year and the beginning of this one, it will require a higher overall for the barrier of entry. So the barrier of entry right now is 78 to 79s. You cash in 78 to 79 overall player items, you get 80 overall event items, you take those 80 overall event items, you turn them into 82s, turn those 82s into master player items. So with 86 is now being the end, I would anticipate that the barrier for entry is now going to be at least 79, more than likely 80s, right? More than likely 80 overalls. So a lot of people have been asking, what do you do with your 79s? Because I've said you sell everything that is tradable regardless, but your untradables, your 78s, you untradeable cards, you put into the 80 overall event items. You turn 78s into 80 overalls because it only takes 3. Whereas the exchange sets, you can get an 80 to 81 for a 78 overall, but it costs 4. So by doing that, you at least guarantee yourself to have cards that'll be useful in the future, right? Your 79s, however, I would not cash in because you can cash in your 79s for captain cards or transaction items, but I wouldn't recommend that. Captain cards, you can take 5 79s and make an 82. So with your 79s, a lot of people have been asking me, do you turn your 79s into 80s because 80s look to be the barrier of entry for the next event? I wouldn't, because A, it could be 79, it's only going up +1 overall, but maybe. The other way around, the other thing to remember is that the captain trade-ins that you use your 79s for, again, this is untradeable. I'm still selling everything that's tradable. The 79s, they can be used in the captain set, and there's no timer on that. That's going to run all season, so no matter what, you're good. So I'm just waiting. I am literally just waiting because there's no harm in risking, or there's no harm in waiting, and you could risk it and 79s be the barrier of entry, and you turn them into 80s, and now you wasted cards, right? So I'm just waiting, and we'll see what happens. You have 1 day left to make a fantasy item. Again, pretty self-explanatory. The fantasy event, God, I'm actually excited that it's just over because it was just a big deflation point and highlighted a major issue with the sets being so expensive. It could have been. It's tough. It's tough because if you take away the set cost, giving us 2 account bound items and then giving us the division as opposed to week 1, week 2, is an improvement. It's legit. There's no way to argue that. It was literally better than last year. But the set price meant that no matter what, even if you spent money, there's a good chance you're not making one. And the one of your choice, or even if you had to, make 8, right? Just a disaster. Like that was such a mismanagement and misread of the market. And there is things that they can't control, like the costs that we set prices for. But you can go and see that there's only 2,680 overalls in the marketplace, charging 680s, which is the worst way to make a fantasy collectible. But you can see that. Like, you can see that there is just simply not enough cards. Like, just whoever is in charge of the economy there just missed it. And like I said, the most important thing from this event is to fix that problem. The problem that gave you the output and the value of the fantasy event needs to be resolved, because it will be the same for team of the year and team of the season. And if you do that in team of the year, you're pushing away pretty much everyone that is still around. That is not a casual player, because the value is just like a kick in the teeth, right? And like I said, everything else, I was very harsh on the fantasy event, as I should have been, right? The sets are ridiculous. But at the end of the day, like, the 2 B and D cards and being able to separate it even more is a win. It is better than last year, but it doesn't make up for the fact that it's just like extortion level prices. So, line combos. If you watch my No Money Spent video, I talked about getting Macklin celebrating. I've been streaming for 25 days. I should have Macklin celebrating. I got him quite early. Favorite player. Literally my favorite player in the NHL to watch, because I'm a Sharks fan. He's the future, and he is an electric player to watch at 18 years old. Can't put him in my lineup. I can put him in my lineup, but I'm downgrading my team overall. And if you are someone that plays the game competitively, and I don't mean that you are trying to get top 100 or you are trying to be the best in the world. I'm talking, though, that the way that you enjoy the game is going into matchmaking, going into ranked or champs. The beginning of champs. Champs is kind of, I've saw this with a lot. Champs is very unserious. Champs is way easier than ranked. You're going into ranked and you're playing against players. My favorite thing to do is to get better, improve, and beat players and move up. That is where I get my most joy, right? Just like other players that like playing offline and building a team. Some people like just opening up packs, right? Like, it's just the way I enjoy the game is that. And I tried to put Macklin in my lineup, and I just downgraded my team. And I need all the help I can get, man. I'm older, and a lot of these kids have just 7 thumbs, So here's mine with, like, I'm working with a half on each, and I need all the help I can get. So the line combo issue, though, resolves a lot of the salary cap, because what's happened now is there's so few line combos. And it's funny because I know that if I bring this up to EA, they're going to say, we're giving you 1 a week at least. And sure, yep. Technically, if you go back and look, they have given us 1. But I would argue that only 1 has been usable. Literally only 1 has been usable. And it's the Check My Game 3 from the event, which I know they're going to do for the marquee event, by the way. If I were to hazard a guess, on Thursday, right before the event ends, they're going to make a Check My Game, or a marquee event AP boost. Maybe it's +2, whatever. And it's going to be right before the event ends after everyone's already made their MSPs and stuff. These should come out at the beginning of the event. That way you can you can justify using them, the lower overall cards, while you're doing the objectives and stuff, right? Like while you're playing online. And it's frustrating in that sense. Like just it's a mess. They need to add far more. Like they need to add, even if it's just +1 overall or +3 AP, it doesn't just need to be the +2s and the +5s, right? But we need like 5 a week, because I actually think this line combo system they've come up with is somewhat interesting. I still think that we should have total freedom, and I've said this since the start of line combos and understanding how they work. I've said this nonstop, that you need at least 32 that are 3 of the same team. But that being said, the line combo thing can work if there is just 50 options. You give us a ton of options, and you will see different teams. Will there be some that are the meta and the ones that everyone goes for? Yes, because it's an online game. That is what is going to happen. Every single video game has a meta. That is it. And everyone gets annoyed that we have the same teams. And I love the people that are arguing, or I've had a lot of people that have argued that this is worse than what it was in the prior years, because everyone has the Solani, Ronick, Teravainen, or Pasa, Sakic, and whatever, right? And Pedersen or Naslin, right? True. But if you were to go back and look at the top 100, everyone had the same cards when there was no line combos. In fact, everyone had the same teams almost. At the high end, when you're playing online, right? Offline, it's whatever. And that being said, if they had like 10 different line combos, like, it would fix all of this. On top of that, the salary cap wouldn't be an issue, because the reason why the salary cap's an issue right now is we have the same line combos. We figured out the best players to go together. And then all we're doing is trying to fix at the margins. The perfect example is Naslin to Pedersen, Burakovsky to Teravainen, right? Like, we're upgrading one card because of the salary cap. But then you run into the issue of Justin Barron and Marek Zhidlicki. That's the first one where if everyone has one of the goated teams, like the teams where it's viewed as one of the best, it's the first real pain point, because Justin Barron is cheaper, but Zhidlicki is slightly better, maybe. But there's no point in using him, because you'd rather just use Justin Barron to save the salary cap. So they need to put more line combos in, and I mean like today. Like they need to put in 5 a week, like enough, and put an event one in at the beginning of the event. It doesn't make any sense to do it right before, unless you are legitimately just trying to suck as much content or money and stuff out of people, because or not even money, resources, right? Because when they do that, they know it impacts the market, and that's fine. It should. Do it at the beginning of the event, not the very end, because you're trying to get everyone to use all their resources before the new event comes out, so that when the new event comes out, if it's a banger, everyone drops all their money and collection on the new one, right? That's very frustrating to me, the line combo thing. It's so silly. The last thing I want to talk about is matchmaking. So if you're an online player, even if you're not, let's say you're a Division 3 and below from the past few years, okay, which is a majority of the player base, by the way, it has been a god-awful experience. And we saw it in the beta, or the first week of the year. You could tell that it was going to be a mess because of the way it's a very simple format, but it does not work. Because what has happened is you are not letting the Division 2 and 1, or even Division 3 guys get away from the bottom division. You're not letting them get away. So I want to pull up a tweet from my man Thrash, okay? If you guys are watching me, I'm sure that you know who Thrash is. And give him a follow if you haven't already, especially on Twitter. He's a great follow on Twitter, because he posts a lot of informative stuff when it comes to the game. So here is the tweet. I'll see if I can make it bigger. According to the HUT leaderboards, 14 players are in Elite. I'm actually okay with that. If Elite, actually no, it shouldn't be Elite. It should be I forget that there's an unlimited or ultimate rank. 14 players in Ultimate, like, okay, the best in the world. Ultimate should be very difficult to get to. 129 players in Diamond, 900 players are in Platinum, and 5,200 players in Gold. There are 45,000 in Silver and Bronze. And because this is your average part of the player base, once you get into Silver, Gold 1 is almost impossible, because you're just matching up against players, and you have to win 3 in a row. Like, you have to, or enough to get up in there, and no one can get away. And what happens is you get a casual player that is looking for any reason to not play, but they don't realize it. They get into this, they get stuck, and then it's like, okay, I'm done, because there's no rewards you can get. The next reward is in gold. I have been in gold 4 for 2 weeks now, and I've played about 120 games, not in gold, but I've played about 50 games in gold. Haven't got a ranked reward. Haven't got an objective completed for playing ranked. I've finished the XP path, so I'm not earning any XP. There is nothing to do. You were literally getting nothing. However, the way I enjoy the game is to improve and get better at the game, so that's where I'm okay. But this is, not acknowledge this is crazy. The bigger issue, guys, and again, I don't think the 1% should be catered to, other than in Hut Champs. But Hut Champs is only part of the week. These guys only match each other. And while, okay, they should, because they're the best in the world, 129 players on both consoles. If you don't have crossplay on, which a lot of PlayStation players don't, because it's for the most part, an unenjoyable experience for some games, then you're only matching the same people. And if those people aren't searching, you're sitting there for 30 minutes. And not only that, if you play in a place that isn't populated, like the West Coast or even Central, there's like 4 people. Sap is in Elite, I believe, and he has played the same person 45 times out of 60 games. Like, it is a mess. And there's two big issues that have to be resolved here. This needs to either open up or combine them all so that they can actually get games. And this needs to figure out a way to stop this crunch. Like, they need to make it where they can get away from each other. I actually like the latter format. I do like it. But the ELO format solves this, because that's what we had before. When you win a game in silver against someone that is in platinum, and it happens, right? You would match up with someone in your placement games. You would get 400 rivals, like, skill rating. So you're out of this mess, because you should be, right? And this needs to be addressed. I get that they're taking data and they can't really do anything mid-season, but if we go into next season and this is not changed, like, it is inexcusable as a consumer. And even as a business, I don't know how you see this and don't expect that players are just going to stop. So I've said this all along. If you don't come up with a fix, then you're just bitching to bitch. So what I would do is you add a second ranked leaderboard, or ranked path. Okay, that is exactly the same, but you get a square, and every time you win, you get a square. So you can get to ultimate. You literally can get to ultimate in 120 wins, whatever it is in the season, okay? It's going to take players that aren't very good an exceptional amount of time, but at least they're working towards it. And they're still matching up against players that are roughly around their skill level. You leave the other ranked ladder. There is another one that is exactly the same as how it works right now. So the best players in the game can get double rewards. If you are better at the game, you will get double rewards. That doesn't fix this, but at least it solves a little bit of the reward issue. But the matchmaking issue is far more pressing. Like, it is a disaster. And what's worse is once you get into Diamond, you can't relegate. Good thing, right? However, if you get into Diamond and you are a Diamond player, you are stuck. You are matching up against only Diamond players and Elite players, and you are just going to get absolutely beaten down to the point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Humans love a chase where it is somewhat difficult. It can't be too easy and it can't be too hard. This screams too easy or too hard, right? Like this, it's too hard. And it needs to be resolved. Either you need to find a way to separate them. That's it. Like you need to. And you need to find a way to reward people for playing the game. This is not going to work. This is an idea that they did not test and it did not cook, and they need to immediately fix it. Or I'm not someone that is so grandiose to say the game is dead. We're all addicted. So we're still going to probably play the game. It takes a pretty self-aware person to be like, I'm good. So for anyone that is able to do that, good for you. But you're setting your player base up to just hate their life playing this game. Like it does. You're going to push them to cup chase, and maybe that's the thing. Someone in my chat just said the game is not dead, just ranked is going to be dead. I agree. The system does not work, and it needs to be fixed immediately. So let's get into today's comments, however. From the last video, Macatek says, Saturday morning routine. Wake up, take a shit, wait for coffee and Chel to drop, get out of bed. Love that. Absolutely. Most liked comment of the video. Except the reply, which says, personally, I'd get out of bed before I take a shit. one of the funniest replies and comments on my videos ever. I got an amazing kick out of that. The internet stays undefeated. 720 says, absolutely right. I pulled Bavillier and Riley. Wanted a shot at an Eastern player again, so I made the random pack. Pulled another bow. Brutal. Avoid any degree of risk with this event. I get it asked a lot. If I got Barzal, should I do the Metro again? The Metro is by far the best set, guys. You can't double up doing the same division, right? But if you wanted two Metro players, what you do is you do the first B and D set, right? And if you don't get a Metro player, then you know you can do it, right? Like that's the alternative, right? But yeah, it's a very scary thing. If you go division first and then the random B and D out of the 32, the odds are very low you're going to get the same player, but they aren't zero. And an event where each one of these cards is 1,000,000 coins in value and you get given one by doing objectives, like you can't risk that. You can't. Good day, slaves. Videos are great and informative. Nice job, sir. One thing I wish Hut would take into account are some arenas and logos. Make them easier to get, or ways we can get on ways than just the auction house. Been looking daily for the North Stars logo with an arena, and never one up for sale. And yes, need buy orders like MLB. Actually, almost everything structural wise like MLB. We have gotten nothing but assistant captains, and EA puts that stuff into packs as filler. I don't know why they don't do it with jerseys and logos. I don't know why business-wise or like content-wise why they don't pull the slider so that we can pull them more. It is ridiculous. You should be able to make the arena you want if you want via a set, or there should be a trade-in. You know, like it's absurd. It should not be this hard. Can someone explain why we need to complete 20 moments for XP per week, but we only get 15 new ones every week? This is a major issue. If you've done all the moments like myself, and I would recommend doing all of the moments, that's where you start. It's where you should start. You basically can't do that objective or that weekly one. That's something that is an oversight by them. So technically, you can do another moment that you've already completed and just complete it over and over again to get it done. But that's ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to do that. One of the best replies is, can you explain why you feel like you need to complete it fully? Totally agree. Unhappy Pens fan, I can say that it is OCD. I have it, and I hate the fact that it is the one thing that I have not checked off. Even though I have completed the XP pass, so I can't even get XP, there is just something about that green checkmark not being there that pisses me off. Next up, Coolin says, I just want to say thanks for answering my questions. Definitely helped out a bunch. Appreciate it. Love hearing your replies. I apologize for so many questions in your videos, but today got me thinking with the common/rare epic jerseys and arenas. I really want the epic arena, the Canal, and the Sens epic jerseys, but I've noticed it's pretty ridiculously hard at obtaining them since they're never on the auction house. EA could implement more sets, a certain rarity logo jersey, trade X amount for common for a rare, and then trade that rare for an epic. It'd be more of a reason to get certain items, even though prices for team info and arenas are massively high priced. It's wild. I love collecting, and last year we could trade in all of the divisions and arenas to get an outdoor arena, which was fun. I feel like EA missed an opportunity to make these epic items buildable. 100% agree, man. Like I said in the comment above, absolutely. It's very frustrating. Sup, slaves? On and off viewer here. New dad of a 6-month-old baby. Let's go. Future NHL Hall of Famer. I'm usually a Div 2 player, and I average around 13 wins in champs. But this year, I can only squeeze in a few games a night. Been stuck in silver-gold crossover lately, and went 10-9 last week in champs. Feels like defending is tougher this year, and games can be super RNG. Between chores, wildcard moments, and cup chase, it's tough to find time to grind online. When I play 2 to 5 games a night, I don't feel like I'm moving up at all, just skating in mud. Do you think they could add a streak system like FIFA where winning multiple games in a row helps you climb faster? Would be nice for players who can't grind all night. Love the vid, man. Keep it up. There needs to be something. Like I said, the reward path that is cumulative, which is what it was pitched as, which everyone thought. They did a deep dive and stated that's how it's going to work. That's how it needs to be, and hopefully they figure out a way to do that. So. Also on defense, defense is my strategies video. I'm starting to put it together, guys. So it's a video that usually takes me about 15 hours to make because I go super in depth to try and teach you guys some things. And defense this year is extremely frustrating. It just is. I have an idea for Team of the Week. While the newest Team of the Week cards are released, they should have a temporary +5 overall boost so that you can go out and go out and chase those cards for the week of overall increase. Complete objectives with actually good players, and use the newest players with actual reason to use them rather than just grind out rewards with low overall players that don't matter the most. 100% agree. Missed opportunity. You could have like a 3 forward Team of the Week line. Even just that. So I'm totally with you on that. Hi, I'm playing offline mode Cup Chase Superstar, but I don't because I don't like online. I am enjoying my time, but I would know if they change the teams we face one day, or will we face the same teams over and over again? They probably set it and forget it. I mean, yo, the one thing is the battle with the Tofino Icebergs is unlike any other thing in sports. I agree though. It should be fixed. A lot of offline players don't like playing the same team. I don't care because I don't even notice it. But that seems to be like a common thing that they need to address for sure. I made 85 Marner because he's one of the best cards, but no chance I can fit him in my top 6 without making my lineup worse. Like I mentioned with the lineups, this needs to be addressed. It's something that is really annoying, and I hope they figure out a way to add more line combos immediately. Like the Macklin thing is an issue. He can technically fit on that +5 AP line, but that's like everyone's 4th line, and putting a 7 million cap hit card on the 4th line is just like not something you can do. It's very annoying. Very, very annoying. Lastly, this was from Reddit. Someone asked me to include it in the next video. So Remy says, hey, Sleeves, can you possibly include this question in the next video? What are your thoughts on the line combination changes in place of synergies? And do you feel the new system has forced the meta into players, into certain players more than ever in order to keep up? I can't tell you how often I play identical teams with the same old Solani line combo, Pasta, PD combo, and so on. Every year we chase the meta, and that will never change. But I was hyped with the new system, thinking it would give more of us variety, but it seems that the exact opposite has happened. And now we have more identical teams than ever before. If you could include this, thank you. So I touched on this in general, but like I said, this gets fixed entirely if you overwhelm us with line combos. Yes, there will be certain min-max ones, but the salary cap means that there are more options, because if there was no salary cap, then it would be whoever can get the best line, right? But if you give us multiple lines, the salary cap might not fit for everyone, because there are certain choices that players have to make, whether it's Doughty and Heiskanen, right? If you have Chard, you pair him with a Bruin, like things like that. There are some things that people are doing differently. But that being said, if there was just like right now, you know, the +2 overall boost is the main focus. You got to add 10 more. Even if they just were like, hey guys, we hear your problems or hear your issues. Here's 10 more +2 overall line combos. That immediately puts everyone on like a trying to figure it out. And there will be someone that will be the best, but at least it will make far more things. And that would be, it's such a missed opportunity, because it just highlights, you know, all the bad, but it could be very good. And I thought there was no chance it would be good at all. So thank you again for watching. A little bit of a longer one, but I'll be back again tomorrow with another Coffee and Chel. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.